Hello, my name's Sarah Cox and I'm the course leader for PGCE Primary at the University of Portsmouth. So you're thinking of becoming a primary school teacher, so the first thing you need to ask yourself is what can the job offer you and what are the kind of opportunities that will come your way as a primary school teacher. So first of all, if we think about teaching as a profession, teaching is a really inspiring job. So you might be able to think back to teachers that you had at school that inspired you, made you the person that you are today, and there might be a particular teacher that you aspire to be like. The children in the classroom inspire you when you go into work every day. There are lots and lots of different opportunities every single day that you go into the classroom, and no 2 days are going to be the same. And because of that, it is a really, really challenging job, and the course itself is really challenging as well. So teachers notoriously work really, really hard. When the children go home at the end of the day, you don't go home, I'm afraid. So there's lots and lots of work that goes into it, but it's also a really rewarding career. Every day is completely different. It might not be what you're expecting. You might have planned to do something and then it just changes at the last moment. So it's about being really adaptable to those changes as well and embracing those challenges. That's what makes the job really unique. So it's really unlike any other career. As I said, really exciting, really challenging, and lots of different opportunities every single day that you go into work. And it's really about making a difference to people's lives. So teachers often get into the profession because they just have a real passion for working with children and making a difference to every single one of those children's lives. And you can see that through the work that you're doing in the classroom every day. In terms of what you get from your colleagues as a teacher, there's a real buzz, both on the course at university when you get to go out onto your placements and then come and share those experiences with the other trainees on the course, but also when you're in school, there's a real buzz around the school with the professional conversations that you can have with other teachers and the sharing of learning, because the learning doesn't stop when you're at school. You learn a lot from the children as well. There's a real great atmosphere around that because of all the adults who are working with the children who just want the best for the children. So it's a really positive environment. There's a lot of variety in the job. So if you're looking for a career where you get to do all sorts of different things and no 2 days are the same, then teaching is certainly something that you should consider. And there's also lots of opportunities. So after you've completed your first 2 years as an early careers teacher, which is called an ECT, you will be asked to lead subjects that might take you in different directions that you hadn't considered before. You could go on to do forms of leadership, be a middle leader, look to be a senior leader, a head teacher someday maybe. But aside from that, there are other directions you could go as well. So you might choose to be a teacher in a different setting rather than a primary school. So what's involved in becoming a teacher? You might have heard of something called qualified teacher status, or QTS. So that is what enables you to become a teacher in a school. So you would need to complete a course such as this to meet the standards required to be a teacher. So they're called the teacher standards. The QTS part is separate to the PGCE part. So the PGCE is awarded as an academic qualification. So that's based on the academic assignments that you complete, whereas the QTS is awarded in recognition of the fact that you have met the teacher standards. So you can demonstrate that you consistently meet the standards expected of a teacher. And you would do this by collecting evidence throughout your placements. So it might be lesson observations, lesson plans, reports written by your mentor to show that you can consistently meet the standards that are required of you. However, that's not assessed until right at the end of the course. So we build your skills up towards that, and at the end of the course, we would make a recommendation to the DFE that you're awarded QTS. That's not awarded by the university. We would give you the academic award. So that's the PGCE. In terms of assessment throughout the course, because this is a question that we get asked a lot, As I've just said, you would get assessed against the teacher's standards, and you'd collect evidence against those in your teacher training portfolio. So you keep an e-portfolio on a drive where you keep all of your evidence. There'd also be observations of your teaching. So your mentor in class would observe you every week and give you feedback and give you targets. And then you'd also have tutors from the university who would come and observe you as well. And then you'd also have your academic assignments, which I'd mentioned, which go towards your PGCE qualification. So in terms of studying, thinking about what the year looks like, this is indicative timetable. So this is actually for this year. If you have a look at the pale green days, they're the days spent in university. So as you can see, there's not actually that many days that are in university, which means that when you are at university, they're really intensive days because they are all day at university. So normally from about 9:30 until 4 o'clock. So there's a block period at the beginning of the year where we give you lots and lots of information to help you to be ready for your first placement. So you can see your first placement starts at the beginning of October, so they're the purple days, and you ease into that placement, starting off a couple of days a week and then building up. And then you can see it stretches out to 5 days a week. So for that first placement, you would be in either a Key Stage 1, so that's Year 1 or Year 2, or a Key Stage 2, so that's Year 3, 4, 5 or 6 class. And then for your second placement, you would swap over and do the alternative key stage so that you're having experience across both of the key stages. You can see that placement actually extends after the Christmas holidays so that you have experience of what it's like when children come back to school after Christmas. Then you have 2 weeks in university so that we can give you some further input after you've had experience in school. So we build on what we taught you before you went into school and what you've learned on placement. There's another 2-week block of placement. That's an alternative education setting. So in your alternative education setting, you are able to make a choice of a placement that you would like to go on. So it can be anywhere where education is happening, which isn't a primary classroom. It might be a secondary school, a nursery school, a special educational needs school, a pupil referral unit, a museum, a zoo, so anywhere where there's education which isn't a mainstream primary school. The purpose of this is for you to see how education is delivered in those settings and then consider how you might apply what you've seen there back in your own primary classroom. So then you're back again for another 2 weeks and some more input from us, and then you can see your final placement stretches right before the Easter holidays and then right afterwards up until July. And as I said, that would be Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2, the opposite of what you did for your first placement. So you spend an awful lot of time in school, you're assigned a mentor while you're in school, and you have paperwork which you need to keep up to date with. You have visits from tutors in university while you're on placement to check that everything is going as it should be, and if we need to put any support in to be able to help you. You'll see also on this slide there are 5 areas. These are from the core content framework. So we base our curriculum on the core content framework, but then we also enrich it with other things which we think are really important for you to know. So these 5 areas are carried through in placement and at university to make sure that we are teaching you everything you need to do to be an effective primary teacher. So in terms of school placements, because obviously they're very important, we work with lots and lots of schools across the city and Hampshire. We also have links in Dorset, West Sussex and other areas as well where we've had students in the past. We will always try our hardest to take into account where you live and what access you have to transport. So you might have a car or you might need to use public transport, so we'll take that into account, or any medical needs or caring responsibilities you may have when we look at placing you. I've said about Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. The requirement is for us to offer you a minimum of 120 days, and we actually offer you more than that. And I've spoken about the alternative education setting. So if you're still thinking that you'd like to apply and I haven't put you off, you need to know what the requirements are. So we need you to have a degree or equivalent qualification at a 2-2 or above. For any teacher training course, and specifically primary, you will need a grade 4 or a C in GCSE Maths, English Language and Science. If you haven't got that, you can either retake or take an equivalency. If you contact our teacher training department, they will be able to advise you on what would be the best equivalency to take for that. International students require IELTS 6.5, no component score below 6. But again, admissions will be able to advise you on that. We are required to interview all of our applicants if you're shortlisted. So there's an interview day that you'll be invited to, a presentation to give, a one-to-one interview with our course staff, and an English and Maths task for you to complete for us to not test you, but to check where your current understanding is so that we can identify any areas we might need to work on. And the DFE also require you to have a occupational health fitness to teach check to see if there's anything which we need to put in place for you, and you'd also need DBS clearance to be able to work with children. Okay, so in terms of finance, things you might need to consider. So tuition fees are pretty standard. Student loans you're eligible for, so you can find out about those. If you've got any questions on finance, there's the email for our finance department. I would also strongly advise that you have a laptop, because you'll need to do lots of planning for your placement school and they might not be able to provide that to you. Obviously, you'll need clothing which is suitable for you to be able to wear to school, because you'll need to look professional, and you'll need to think about budgeting for travel to and from your placement school. So we can't guarantee exactly where you'll be, so that will be something which you just need to keep in mind. So hopefully we'll be seeing you soon if you'd like to apply to join our course. If you've got any questions in the meantime, my email address is sarah.cox@port.ac.uk. Thank you very much for watching our presentation.